Hey, Nick Collier here, and we're going to take this project to the next step. And one of the steps is we have to make a shaft for those two big bearings we did yesterday. And the shaft, I ordered this piece of 8620 here, I don't know, about a week ago, and it finally came in the other day. So we can put this in the lathe. We're going to find a center. We're going to turn it down. I think we want to go to about 2 inches, whatever, of course, the bearing surface is, or bearing inside dimensions are. And I think there's probably an extra 4 or 5 inches on this once we get it all set up. So I think we can go ahead and figure out our center and drill that. I might be able to drill it on the lathe itself, but you know, the way this old chuck is, probably this is going to be a jumping around, so I may end up taking it out and drilling the center just on my own, and then putting it back in the lathe and setting the center up. So we'll take that to the first step. This is 8620, and we're going to turn it to the diameter, yeah. Turn it to the diameter of the bearings, and then thread both ends for these nuts to go on and tighten up on the whole mess. So hang with me, we're going to have some fun. Well, it just so turns out that it looks like it's running pretty true, so I think I'm going to just punch it with the center hole in the center of that, and then start turning from there. We've got a long ways to go. I mean, what do we got here? This is about 2 inches, and that looks like about 2.5. So we got a ways to go. Let's see how far it is. Two and a half. Okay, I'll be back in a second. All right, we're going to punch ourselves a little hole. A little hole with a big center. Guess we better tighten up our chuck. There we go. So now we're in a position to where it's time to take a measurement, because I'm not exactly sure how long this is going to be, and we've got to figure that out. So let's go over and take some measurements. Okay, so we've got our measurements that we've got to deal with here. We've got our two bearings and our inner sleeve that's going to go between the two bearings. And those are going to sit like that. Then we have our two little outer sleeves. What happened to those? There they are. And those are going to give us a little space between the bearing and these plates, 3/4 inch plates. So that will butt up against that, and we're going to square those up as much as we can. And then we have two nuts that go on the outside here. And that should take care of our wheel. Let's make sure that we've got the right thickness and everything before we start moving forward. There's our wheel. So we've got a good 1/4 inch of play, and we don't want much more than that, because remember, there's going to be a 3/4 inch cable going through here, and the guy says that once in a while the cable gets a little bit tweaked and it needs to have no place to go. So this is going to be just about right. So if we take our measurement from here and we allow, let's say, an extra 1/4 inch on either side of the nut, and that way the nut has a good place to thread to. Well, actually, you know what, might be a good idea just to take it right up to flush, because then nobody gets cut. Let's just give it a little bit of room, like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 on both sides. And what's our measurement here? Oh yeah, glasses. We've got 7 and 6/50. 7 inches, 650 thousandths. So that's the length of our bar. And then the other measurement we need to take right now is how far do we want to turn that bar down. And so the bar is going to go through the aluminum, and it's going to come out to the nut, and you can tell the nut is just slightly under. So it's going to be just about right. Let me make sure. Yep, we've got just, probably, I don't know, 40-50 thousandths play between the outside, the outside diameter of the threads of the nut and the bearing itself. So then all we got to do is measure the inside of our bearing, and these bearings are millimeter bearings. So we're going to come back in with inside micrometers and really get a tight measurement on that. So let's go back over to the lathe. Actually, now that I think of it, probably a good idea to go ahead and get our inside measurement for the bearing. And we'll just use our little snap gauges. They work pretty well. And you just grab it and pull it through. One pull. And you should get a good measurement. Now I always like to take 2 or 3 measurements and make sure I got the right number. Make sure there's no dust or anything in between your faces. Alright, we're sitting right at two inches, 165 thousandths. 165. Okay, our measurement is 7 inches, 650 thousandths. So we're going to take that right over to that place. And that's going to take us right into about there. Now we'll add just a little bit, just because we know we need to clean off both surfaces. And we'll turn the lathe on and strike a line all the way around. That gives us a good visual of where we want to go. So now I'm just going to take a skim cut down this, and we'll get to there, and we'll come back and see what we've got. That's interesting. Right as we got to that line, it started skipping. Now you can see that it almost skipped all along here. It was like just about there. It started transitioning. So this is where the roller rolled this material out to get it square. Let's take another cut, and we'll just kind of clean things up a little bit. All right, let's see what we got. Much better cut. Now, we still got a ½ inch to take off of here, but at this point I want to start measuring the differences between my the distance and get that squared up so that when the time comes, when we get down to what we want, then I know that I'm nice and true. You know, this is an old lathe, 1954. This was built in Czechoslovakia. Good lathe, great lathe, but you know, it's worn out. So there's a lot of things that got to be dinked around with in order to get this thing to square up. But it's possible. It's not like it's a done deal. So let's get the micrometer out, see what we got. May as well turn that off. So we've got 2, 4, 2, 4, 45, I believe. 2, 4, 41. And our other measurement is, it looks like we're about 6 or 8 under. Well, not that bad. We're 3 under, 3.5 under. Let's go ahead and measure this again. Okay, so now we got 12 that time. And that's a good tight fit. And this side here, we've got seven and a half. So we need to go this way by about 5 thousandths, which is pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the, I'll go ahead and just rotate us there. We're going to come back to the tailstock, and I'm going to get a dial indicator. Drop that on top of the bed. Spin this around till it works. Let's see, here we go. Someplace around in here. There it is. Okay. Well, I guess we shouldn't have it on the bolt. Let's put it up here a little bit. Okay. So, and boy, it just landed right on 0, just where we wanted it. Come on. No, it didn't. There it is. What do we got? Some kind of a piece of something in there? All right, let's try that. Come on. Okay. So can you see that? Somewhat. Let's come down a little bit. All right, so we're sitting right on 0. We need to bring the tailstock this way towards us by 5 thousandths. So that's not too difficult. We're going to loosen the tailstock just a little bit and get our Allen wrench, and we're going to loosen this side and tighten this side. All right, let's loosen it a little more. There we go. That took us about 5 thousandths. All right, let's just see what that does. Four and a half thousandths. Okay, so we'll give it a try at that. Okay, let's get her rolling. See what we can come up with. So that threw chips everywhere, and I don't think we got a good cut out of that, because I think it burned the tip of my bit out. I think what we need to do is go ahead, this is 8620, this is some pretty stout stuff. Let's go ahead and put a carbide bit in there. We're going to dink around here a little bit, so we'll turn you off. Okay, as I said, this is some pretty 8620, some pretty nasty stuff. We're going to, we've gone ahead and, let me back this up just a little bit. We've gone ahead and put a insert in. And I think we'll be able to get a good cut out of that. All right, let's see what that produces. So we're at 415, and this is looks like we're about 3 thousandths out. 2.5. All right, so let's just go in 2.5 more. Okay, so this time we're going to try taking just a little bit less of a cut. Okay. Another measurement. We're looking at 12. And it looks like we went a little too far that time. And we're at 15. So that means we got to go back by 2. Okay, it moved. Not want that to happen. we'll try it there and see what it comes out like. Okay. One thousandths. I can live with that. Okay, so we're now about 20 thousandths from where we want to be, and this thing's pretty hot, so I'm going to give it a break and let it cool down, and then we'll do our final one or two passes to take off that final 20, and then we'll be down to size. So I'll be back in a while.